Hi everybody, hope you've had a great week. Welcome back to Rocco Baby Crochet. So today's tutorial is the last part of our winter set that we've made. So we've done the headband, we've done the scarf, we're now doing these beautiful fingerless mittens, keep our hands nice and toasty, feel a little bit like I should be Rocky Balboa, doom, 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 doom. But maybe more in reality, they're just keeping my hands nice and toasty while I drive to work. But anyway, so what you're going to learn in this tutorial is we're going to learn how to do this ribbon here around the edge. We're going to be learning how to crochet in the round and how to add holes like this for our thumbs to go through. Perfect. Now this pattern, you may find it easier to go across to the website, have a look at the written pattern and do it alongside the tutorial because it's alternating rounds that we're doing here. So you may find it a little bit beneficial, a little bit easier so you can mark off each round as you do it. The pattern over there is completely free for you. So if you think you're going to find that easier, then please do that. And yeah, let's get into what we need to make these wonderful mitts. Got everything that you're going to need to make your fingerless mittens. So I'm using the scheepjes Chunky Monkey in the colour Bumblebee again, so this is just going to complete my set. I've got two different size crochet hooks. So the first one here is a 4mm crochet hook. So I use the smaller hook to do the ribbon around the wrist because I want it to be a little bit tighter, and then I go up to a 5mm hook when I'm doing the rest of the pattern, which goes around my hands, because I want that a little bit looser. You're going to need a pair of scissors, some darning needles and a couple of stitch markers. Especially if you're new to crochet, these are going to really help you. So get yourself a few of those ready and on hand as well. So let's get into making our mittens. Okay, so to begin with, we're going to start by making the ribbon around the wrists of the mittens. So I've grabbed my 4mm crochet hook and I've got my yarn, and we want to begin by making a slip knot. So we do this exactly the same as we did for both the scarf and the headband, and pull on your working yarn just to tighten it up on your hook. We're going to begin by making a foundation chain of 10. So if you remember, we yarn over and pull through. 1, yarn over, pull through, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So to make the ribbon, we're going to be doing rows of double crochet. So we need to skip the first chain from the hook, and that'll count as our turning chain, and crochet into the second chain, which is just here. So remember, what's on your hook counts for nothing. So there's your first chain, there's your second chain. So you can crochet directly into there, but I'm going to crochet into my back bumps, which we showed you on the headband. So I'm going to count down one back bump to my second back loop, and insert my hook underneath that second one just there. So insert your hook, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and take off the 2 loops on your hook, and that's your first double crochet. So then you'll just move directly into your second stitch, insert your hook, yarn over, pull up a loop, you'll have 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both of those loops. Now you will want to use your stitch markers. So pop one here into your first one, and then move on to your third chain and place a UK double crochet. So in US terminology, these are single crochets. And then move on to your fourth stitch and place another one. Then into your fifth chain and you place another one, and you're placing one in every stitch all the way down for a total of 9 double crochets. Ooh. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. This is my last one. And then just here at this point, I just want you to grab 2 of your stitch markers. Pull up enough on your yarn there so you don't lose your last stitch. And if you just look at your chains here at the bottom, just pop one into your first chain here and one into your very last chain here. So if you need to count them, count them. So we should have 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and there's my 9th one. And it'll just, when we come to pop these together a little bit later on, it'll make it a little bit more obvious for you where you're going with your stitching. So for row 2, what you're going to want to do is chain 1, and we're going to repeat the same row over and over now for a total of 24 rows. So what you want to do is your stitch counts for these 24 rows is always going to be 9, and they're always going to be UK double crochets. But can you see how we've got the V that makes up the stitch? What we're going to be crocheting into is just the back loop of that stitch. So instead of inserting our hook underneath both of those V's like that, what we're actually going to be doing is just going underneath the back loop, so the loop that's furthest away from you. Yarn over as usual, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through both of those. And then you'll move on to your next back loop. So if you look at it again, you've got your V here and here, and you're just going underneath the loop towards the back. And then move on to your next one. So if we look at it again, so we've got the 2 strands of yarn that make the V up. So this one here is the strand of yarn that we're going to be crocheting under. So just insert your hook underneath that loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull them off as usual. So we've done 4 stitches there, so I'm just going to pop a stitch marker in that first one, and then I keep my rows nice and straight, and then move back on to my next one. So just there underneath that back loop, place another double crochet underneath this back loop here, underneath this back loop, and I've got 2 left to work. So there's my back loop, and then you can see the 2 strands here. I'm just going to work underneath that back loop there as well. Pop out the stitch marker there, which was marking off the top of row 1. Chain 1 and just turn my work. So for row 3, and every row now until the end of row 24 is going to be exactly the same. So that's my chain 1 here, which is our turning chain. So all these back loops here along this side is what I'm going to be placing my double crochets. So my stitch count will always remain as 9. And from now on I will be crocheting just into the back loops of the row below, and this is what gives us the ribbon effect. So into that one, into the next one, just there, into the next one. Don't forget to pop your stitch marker back in. And you can see already that we're getting that ribbed effect. And it's nice and easy to find them on using this chunky yarn. So I've got 2 left to work into, 1, and there's my last one, there's my 9th one. Pop out the stitch marker and we'll move it up as we go along. So chain 1 and turn. There's my turning chain. This is my first stitch here. So I'm just going straight into the back loop and popping a UK double. Moving across to my next back loop, which is just here. And you're going to do that, like I say, repeat this until you've got 24 rows of back loop double crochets. So if you hit pause until you get to that point, and then I'll show you the next steps of making the mitten. Okay, so I'm just finished my 24th row, and you should have something that looks a little bit like this. So you should have like a ribbed effect, and it's the same on both sides. So we need to now make this into a cuff. So this is what goes around our wrist, and it just sits over our wrist like that. So what you want to do is at the end of row 24, you're just going to chain 1, and then we're going to bring both the edges together. And this is why it was a good idea to put stitch markers in the first and the last chain. So to begin with, what we're going to do is we want to pick up the back loops of the row that's closest to us. So this row here, we're going to go through all the back loops, and this row here, which is further away from us, our very first row, we're going to go through all the front loops here and join them together, so it saves us sewing. So grab your hook, and as if you were going to do another row, just go through that back loop there with your hook, and then pull up your work. And what you're looking for is, if you can see, you'll notice that the V's are just exactly the same. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So instead of going through that strand of yarn which is furthest away from you, you're going through this strand of yarn here which is closest to you, that makes up that V. And we're just going to slip stitch that together. So you're just going to yarn over and pull through, and then instead of yarning over again, you're just going to pull through and that very first loop of yarn that was on your hook. And then you're going to move on to your second stitch, going through the back loop on that first one, and then the front loop on the second one, and slip stitch again, and just slip stitch all 9 stitches together, just going through the back and the front loops. So it'll be a total of 9 slip stitches. So just there and there, pull through that one and that one, and pull through that one, oops, that one, so you'll have a total of 9 slip stitches. And anything that saves me having to sew, I'm a big fan of. And then this last one is a little bit more difficult to find, which is why it was a good idea to pop that stitch marker. But you're just going through the last one, the one furthest away and then the one closest to you on that first row. Pull through and then pull through. And that is how you join your cuff to your mitten together. So you can get rid of these stitch markers now, so we don't need them now. And this is the inside of our mitten. So what we want to do is we just want to turn it inside out, and then we've got the right side facing us. So the seam that we've just slip stitched is on the inside of the work. So you need to now, you're going to want to grab your 5mm hook. You're going to need your larger hook for this next bit. So pop your 4mm away and we'll work with our 5mm hook. So this is you're only going to turn this just this one time from now on. All the rest. So you're just going to chain one here and turn it. This is the only time you'll turn it. The rest of them now will be working in rounds. So we've got, we did 24 rows, so we need to place 24 UK double crochets, which is US singles, all the way around. So just one per row I like to do. So there's 1, 2, pop your stitch marker in that first one. So you can see where the row is. So there's a row, 3, and then this row here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, so just 4 more left to do. 21, 21, 22, 23 and 24, and then that brings us back to where we have joined our work just here. So what we're going to do is slip stitch to that very first stitch that we did, that very first double crochet. So pop your stitch marker out, insert your hook onto both those strands of yarn that makes the V, pull through and pull through. So we're going to be working in the rounds now, which means we're not going to be turning our work anymore. And it's going to be from now on a 2-round repeat. So for the first one, so for the first, well, it's the second round officially. So you're going to chain 2 and then into the same space where you've done your chain 2. So you can just see that little gap underneath it. You're going to place a UK treble crochet. So yarn over, insert your hook and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And just like we did with the scarf and the headband, because this is going to be matching, we're going to do alternate UK trebles and UK doubles. So into this next stitch here, we're going to put a UK double. And then we're going to put a UK treble. Don't forget, use your stitch marker and then you can find your first stitch. So always put your stitch marker in the top of your first stitch and not into the the chain here that we've used to get the height. So then a double. So you just want to repeat that all the way around, and you'll have a total of 24 stitches. So I'm at my last 2 stitches here now. So I've got 1 UK treble, 1 UK double, and that's my 24 stitches. And I'm going to slip stitch to the top of my very first UK treble to close this round. And so the next round we're going to begin with a UK double crochet on this, so we just need to chain 1, and then from the same place where your chain 1 is coming, so just here, place your UK double, and then into the next stitch along a UK treble, pop your stitch marker back in the top of your very first stitch, and just work your way along doing alternate UK doubles and UK trebles, and you should finish this round on a UK treble. So if you want to hit pause and come back to me when you're coming towards the end of this round. Okay, so I'm at my last 2 stitches now, so I'm going to place a double crochet and a UK treble, and then I am going to slip stitch to my very first double crochet here of the row to join it. So that is row 3 completed. Now for the rest of this pattern, up until we get to the thumb, we are just going to be repeating round 2 and 3. So all your even numbered rounds, so I'm just about to start round 4. So all your even numbered rounds you're going to begin with by chaining 2, and your first stitch here will be a treble, and then you'll alternate them. And all your odd numbered rows you will chain 1 and begin with a double crochet here and alternate double, treble, double. So you will do that up until we come to make the thumb hole, and that will take us to row 9. So once you've completed row 8, alternating the round 2 and 3, then if you want to come back to me then, and we'll start row 9. So if you just remember, every even numbered round that you're starting on, you're going to be chaining 2 and beginning with a treble crochet, and every odd numbered round that you're doing, you're going to start with chain 1 and a double crochet. So I'll let you continue that and come back to me when you've completed up to row 8. Okay, so I've just done my last stitch of round 8, and I've slip stitched to join it. So row 9 is where we're going to add the thumb hole, but we just begin it exactly the same. So we're on an odd numbered round, so we're going to chain 1 and start with a UK double crochet, and we're just going to do the alternate pattern just for the first 12 stitches. So there's 1, so then my next one is a treble, 2, so then pop your stitch marker in if you need them. So then I've got a double, so that's 3, a treble 4, double 5, treble 6, double in stitch 7, treble in 8, double in 9, treble in 10, a double in 11, and a treble into the 12th stitch along. So then to make the thumb hole, all we're going to do is we're going to chain 3, so yarn over and pull through 3 times, and then you're going to skip 3 stitches going along here. So 1, 2, 3. So it will be a double, a treble, a double. So we're going to go into this 4th stitch along with another treble, just to keep our stitch pattern the same. So don't forget, this might be easier to follow along with the written pattern, which is available for free over on roccobabycrochet.com. So you're just going to go back to doing the alternate UK double and trebles to finish this round. So we're nearly at the end of the round here. And we're going to finish this on a UK treble. So there's my last double and a UK treble. And then we're just going to slip stitch it to our first stitch, as we have done with every round. And row 10, so we're on an even number round, so we're going to chain 2, and our first stitch is going to be a UK treble. And you just do it again, alternate stitches all the way around. Your stitch count is going to remain the same at 24, and you're just going to place 1 stitch in each of these chains as you go along. So we can do that together if you like. So alternate treble, double, treble, double, treble, double, treble, double, treble and double, and then you'll be at your chain 3 spaces. So these can be a little bit tighter to work in, so just take your time. So we've just done a double, so our next one is going to be a UK treble, and then we're going to work a double into the next chain along, and then a treble into this last chain here, which is always a little bit tighter to get your hook into. And then just continue as normal. So you've got a double into this next stitch here, treble, a double, treble, double, treble, double, treble, and finish on a double, and then you'll just join that again to the top of your first treble crochet. So row 11 is going to be back to the normal, so it's an odd numbered row, so you'll chain 1 and begin it with a double crochet and then do your alternate stitches. Row 12, because it's an even one, you'll begin that with a chain 2 and a treble and then alternate stitches. Row 13, you're going to start that with a chain 1 and a double, and then we'll do row 14 together if you like. It's the same stitch pattern, but we just go down a hook size to make it a little bit narrower, so it sort of hugs our fingers here where our hands start to narrow out a little bit. So if you want to do up to row 13, and then we'll do our last row together. Okie dokie. Okay, so I've just finished row 13, and I'm just going to slip stitch that just to the top of my first stitch to join the round, and then I'm just going to swap my hooks over. So I'm going to pick up my 4mm hook. I just want this, the very last row, just to be a little bit snugger so it hugs my fingers. So because it's an even numbered round, we're going to chain 2 and begin with a treble. So 1, 2, back into that same stitch there, a treble, and then you're going to work it exactly the same, alternating your UK trebles and doubles all the way around. Your stitch count should still be 24, so that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 and 24. So that's perfect. So we're just going to slip stitch it to the top of our very first stitch like that, chain 1, and leave yourself a good 6-7 inches just to tie in those loose ends. Cut that off, pull up on that loop there. Now don't forget, this pattern, I think you're probably going to find it a little bit simpler to follow it along with the written version, which is free over on www.roccobabycrochet.com. And you can tick off the rows then as you go along, so you're not going to get as confused. But that's basically our fingerless mitt done. So I just want to sew in the loose ends, and we'll just show you how to do that. So the best way to do it really is to sew in any loose ends on the wrong side that you're not going to see. So just turn your mitt inside out, thread your darning needle, and then I just run it down a couple of rows, just going through the back bumps, the back loops, so it's not coming through on the front of my work, so it won't be seen, and pull that through. And then skip this last one that we went under and just go under exactly the same bumps again, going back up. Again, skipping the last one that we went under and thread it through one last time. And that should be nice and secure then for you. And then you can just trim that end. I just always like just stretching it out a little bit, just so I know that it's not pulling on any of those stitches, and then you can trim that off, and that's nice and secure. So this is the end from the very beginning, so you'll just want to sew that in as well. So I'm just going to go down these ridges here. Just making sure you're only going underneath the back loop, so just take your time, that's all you want to pick up. You don't want it poking through on the other side of your work. And then back up, and then back down. Pull it out a little bit just so it's not pulling it out of shape. grab your scissors, trim that, and then you're all done. Let's try it on. Oh, perfect. That'll keep me nice and snug this winter. Okay, I really hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. It's a really simple, fun, quick project for you. Don't forget, download the written pattern. It'll be easier for you to follow along with the different rows and alternate stitches. But I hope you enjoy making it. Don't forget to subscribe for more free patterns and tutorials, and join us over on Facebook and show us any of the makes that you make from these videos or anything else you would like to share with us. But thanks for watching. Take care and happy hooking. Bye.